So, Toby, no problem. Please, can you start?
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kazeem.
Oh, okay, so,
nice.
Sorry, Toby, I needed to get that feedback. Probably when I was introducing you, I was mute. Let me confirm if everyone heard me when I was introducing Toby.
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh, my apologies. And it's showing that I was, apologies. So of course, I said that I welcome everyone. All right. And of course, Toby is a renowned and experienced BI developer. And of course, he's a Microsoft certified trainer. So meaning that we are in good hands this evening. So I can assure us, of course, he's going to do due diligence and justice to the topic before us this evening. And of course, at the end of the class, I'm sure that we'll be greatly impacted. So Toby, please, over to you. Just take the floor and let's get it on rolling. Thank you, Toby.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Chide, Deji. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, so nice,
Yes.
nice. Good afternoon, Consider. Fine. Okay, so welcome to Power BI user group. Today, the topic before us is DAX logical functions and application. My name is Tobi Kazeem. A little about me. I work as a Power BI developer. My main strength is on main Power BI, Vertipack Engine, and Tabular SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services. My toolbox are Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, M language, Power Query M. DAX, which is one of the tools we'll be looking into today, TSQL, Excel, Python, and a lot. These are things we use to automate process. I've worked on some areas: finance, supply chain, HR, procurement, sales and marketing, production, and to mention a few. My own ideology is about BI and IT is discipline at the center and flexibility at the edge. How can we achieve a discipline IT, centralized IT, and how can we actually make our user agile? My interests are in data engineering, process automation, and business applications. So these are things I read more about. So the business of the day. Hope you can see my slide.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so to the business of the day, logical functions. Logical. I remember when in the days in college when we write Boolean or some pseudocode, flowcharts. So logical function acts upon an expression to return information about the values of set. So it's most like a branch. Oh, if this is this, it can be this. So you can see these branches. It can be coming from one input to generate two outputs, coming from multiple inputs to generate one output. It can be in form of branches and stuff like that. So it's much of it's more of branching something. Doing a branch, go like this, go left. Is either you go left or you go right or stuff like that. So these are how these are the roots of logical function. So the language of today, the main business of today, the tools in the topic for today is DAX. So DAX logical functions. So here before me on my screen here are list of DAX logical functions. We have and these are description about them. First, if.eager. So this was just released last month to improve or optimize the use of if in some scenario, if error, not all switch are true. So these are all the DAX logical function we have in Power BI and SSAS NG. So we treat one by one. So let's start with the simplest one, if. So if checks whether a condition is met, return one value if true, and another value if false. A typical example, if Ibadan eats amala, S eat rice. The normal day I should be in Ibadan taking my amala. So if I'm in Ibadan, I'm taking amala. If I'm in Lagos or elsewhere, I prefer rice. So this is the basic a layman language of explaining if statement. And then the topic is application. How do we apply this in our daily life scenario in BI, in business intelligence, data analysis? A good scenario which I've met with clients in my engagement with clients is the use of date type. I don't think I've ever seen any application where in the application either you specify today is weekdays or weekend. So requirement come from clients saying, oh, there's some particular employee that do overtime. Let's say, for example, the rate, the paying rate for a normal day is 2 naira per hour. But because of weekend, the employee should be enjoying himself like we do now, and he's at work. So we pay for 5 naira per hour for weekend. So sometimes employees are interested in doing analysis. Does this happen during the weekdays or weekend? So I will demonstrate this with the use of if. Now, before we go into demonstration into the main Power BI, then I will join or. So then another logical function is or, return true if any of the arguments are true, or return false if all arguments are false. So in this code, little snippet before us, we are interested in categorizing the transaction into weekdays and weekend. So the code here is just trying to say if or. So we have two scenarios. Weekend, I hope we all agree with me. Weekend is either Saturday or Sunday. Am I right?
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah. So
yes.
for the calendar day, so it's either Saturday or Sunday. So for this particular scenario, 1 is Sunday, 7 is Saturday. So the calendar method is 1 to 7. 1 is Sunday, starting from Sunday, 7 is Saturday. So if the day number of week is 1 or is 7, then it is weekend, else it is weekday. So these are one of the application of logical function which are in my engagement with users and clients are very important. So I think we will go into our Power BI. I have a demo file here, and I'll try to do that and show us how that can fit into Power BI. So I'm currently using a sample data, more of Contoso and Adventure Works. So here I have my date calendar. So for us that are so conversant with Power BI, we know that even not only Power BI, any BI tools, it's important for us to have a date calendar in a semantic model. It's important for us to have a date calendar. So hope you can see my date calendar, my Power BI file.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So we are interested in doing that, and then the business is interested in introducing something like this. This does not come with a calendar. This does not come with the transaction. The transaction does not classify that is either weekdays or weekend. So we are interested in writing the script. So one of the ways to do that is calculated columns. It helps. So because we are interested in writing using DAX throughout in the course in this program, I think we'll move to that. So let me bring in the code. So I'm interested in adding a new column that will specify date type. So I can actually use my calculated column, new column. So these are the applications just to show us application of logical functions in BI and data analysis. So let me grab some of my code. Yeah, so that I won't start writing the code from the beginning. Okay. So I can actually put this here, and then I'm saying if it is 1 or 7, give me weekend, and if it is a weekday, else give me weekdays. So you can see logical functions are very useful, and depending on how you can apply them, they are useful for making better decisions. So I can check this in, and you see that I have a new column that will give me daytime. So in one word, we have actually made justice, demonstrating to you that if and or combining them together can actually help the business in paying their employee right. So they can actually classify those payments that goes for weekend and those payments that goes for weekdays. So we know that weekdays, the paying rate is 2 naira per hour, and then the weekend, the paying rate is 5 naira per hour. So we can actually know if the total payroll or payment made for all employees in a month is 200 naira. You can classify by using a slicer to demonstrate that, okay, weekend, actually, we actually spend about 20 naira on weekend, which we actually budget only 10 naira. So we need to improve. But without doing this kind of analysis or this kind of function, it can actually, the HR or the person in charge of the analysis might not be able to differentiate weekend and weekdays. So this is one typical application. So let's move on. The next function, which I would like to explain, is AND. AND, yeah, checks whether all arguments are true and return true if all arguments are true. So I remember in college, we're writing the flowchart, every condition must be met for you when you are using AND. So for all, at least one condition which you have demonstrated is either if it is Saturday, it's not necessarily it is Sunday. Saturday and Sunday cannot happen at the same time, so it is all. But if you are using AND in that scenario, it must be Saturday and Sunday, which is not visible. So AND, a typical example of AND that I've actually met during my engagement with users are some analysis that says, how far have we gone against last year? The business is interested in comparing their revenue against what they actually achieved last year. Now, it goes further. We are actually, this is the first day of May. The business is interested in doing a report to show the stakeholders or the corporate sponsors that from the beginning of January to end of April, we have actually made so, which is actually what we call year-to-date or cumulative revenue in BI. And then they are interested in comparing it with what actually happened from January to April last year, which is about comparing year-to-date, the same period where we are last year and the same period where we are this year. So we call it, in my place, we call this kind of analysis measurement of achievement. We want to measure our achievement against what we have done before. So let me demonstrate that. This is a code before us trying to do that. And I will demonstrate to you that without the use of AND in the brackets, I have seen a lot of BI, BI project that when you check audit the values, you realize that though the visualization are very nice, but they're actually giving us wrong value. I deal with a lot of finance people. Finance people are not interested in the visualization sometimes. They are interested in their value. My value must be right. My profit and loss must give me the right value. My balance sheet must actually balance. These are people I deal with. So without the use of AND, to be sincere, we're actually getting wrong value. So I will demonstrate this. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to get the difference between current year and previous year, year to date. So what's the difference? We're actually interested in knowing the difference. But without this box, this AND box here, I can prove to you that whoever go along with this analysis is actually presenting a wrong value for the business. So what are we saying with this AND here? Now, there's a scenario. For a particular scenario, let's assume that the business start operation February last year. And it means that comparing January to April this year and comparing February to April last year, it does not balance because January, the business have not actually started, no revenue generated. Or let's say the business have started, there was factory overhauling, there was breakdown or pandemic or something like that. It even happened in this period of pandemic. Hello, any concern from anybody?
No. Yeah.
Okay, so in this, it happens in some scenario of pandemic that some businesses are down and they are trying to compare what have happened this year against last year when there was no data. So it's actually important for us to put an and clause saying, only do this calculation for me when there is value for current sales and when there's also value for previous sales. So what will make the difference balance is to consider February last year where the business started and February, not excluding January, because it will actually give you an imbalance comparison. So starting with February and February to April this year and February to April last year. But you can't actually omit January. So the best way is to put an and clause saying when there is no sales for any day, please, and where it's better to say you only consider when there is sales for the same day this year and the same day last year. So what I'm saying is that there is sales for January this year, but there is no sales for January last year. So our comparison should omit that line. But without the use of and, I don't think that can be achieved. So this is, I will go to Power BI now. These are incorrect results without and. If we write the code without and, we will actually get the incorrect one, which I mean by the bad sales year today. You can see the bad sales year today. It's portraying a wrong value, CY 2017, the business, there was no previous year for this business. So it means that 2016 June, there was no sales. Maybe the business have not started operation. And you are trying to do comparison. If you do comparison just like that, it will give you this value because Power BI will actually assume 0 for this particular space where my cursor is. So you can see this is a bad comparison to business. I've never seen any of our users that accept something like this. They will actually tell you once there's no the other party is not available, why are you comparing them? So these are where ands are important. So and you can see for the one that is in green, that was coded in green, the value does not appear because we have actually coded something in and then we try to, so we try to go to our Power BI and demonstrate that. So let me move to my Power BI. Though I have the code already, not to be writing the code from scratch. Sorry, let me grab that. So hope you can still see my screen.
Yes,
hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So trying to do something like this, if there is no, if we actually omit this, we are actually doing it in a bad way. So you can see the usefulness of and in business intelligence, business analysis, in data analysis, getting the right insight, giving the business the right insight. These are the use of and I will actually bring this code into my Power BI, and then you see, okay. Let me write a new measure. Oh, sorry. So you can see the one with let me increase this. Can you see the one which I named bad sales year today over, because there is no and clause? It will actually give us a wrong interpretation of our data. So I will demonstrate the one with which is actually the right one to use with the help of and. Doing it the first way gives the business a bad interpretation of what is going on. You can see the value is not correct. So these are one of the use case of and, which is part of the logical function, which is one of those we are treating today. And you can see it in my Power BI here. Can see it in my Power BI here. When we are using the bad one, you can see the value. Everyone can testify to you that the value is actually wrong here. But this is the right value that the business needs. This is the right value they actually need. So you can see this is giving us a very huge value, 401 against minus 32, and the business are actually losing. They're actually losing, but using without taking into consideration this and clause, you're actually giving the business that they are winning, and at the end of the day, they are losing. So I hope that is well understood, and we can see one of the application of and. No matter how small they are very, very important. Okay, so we move on. Hope my screen is still visible.
Yeah.
So we move on. We started with if Ibadan, eat amala. If else, eat rice. It means that we have a yes or no situation. You can see the branch. It's just one. It's either it go to the left or to the right. But in business scenario, it does not happen all the time. We have multiple branches. So we move further. So what we call multiple branches, multiple possible result expression. We can actually have, we have scenario that we can actually, some question they are saying, is either yes, likely, or no, or is either strongly agreed, partially agreed, disagree, or stuff like that. So you can see this is different from if, which is yes or no. Am I right? So we have multiple branches saying yes, likely, or no. So what kind of function can actually solve this kind of scenario? So we have what we call switch. It's part of a logical function in DAX. And it's not only DAX. Many programming, I think I've never seen, I've written JavaScript, Java, Python. All these functions are common to all programming language. Python, switch. I think Python just introduced switch just late last year. Yes, I can remember they just introduced switch just late last year. JavaScript, most programming language have seen something like this. So switch return different result depending on the value of an expression. So it returns different result depending on the value of an expression. So where does it play in BI? Where does it play? We are after, I'm after application. I'm after the business getting insight from what they are doing. So where it plays right is dynamic selection. Sometimes we do some report and the business I will actually tell you, can I select this myself? Can I actually change this value to what I want? So in this kind of scenario, we call this kind of report user-defined selection, power to the user. We want to empower the users. And these are one of the scenarios I've actually used switch a lot before calculation groups. I think calculation groups make it easier nowadays when calculation groups were actually generally available July last year for Power BI, though it has been in SSAS. So we use switch to give power to the users. So what else we mean? A situation like this, where the user actually interested in, I want to change this value. Can I actually make a selection saying, if I click a button, it should show me the value of this year, sales or revenue. If I should change the button to something else, it should show me the value of sales last year. If I change the value, if I click on the button again, can I get the value of year over year? Instead of you doing different charts, different report for each of these things, I want power. I want you to empower me just for me to change a button. So these are cases we have actually used switch, and it's really helped in this kind of scenario. So you can see switch involve multiple branches. So the user can decide to pick C, which is current year, LY stand for last year, YOY stand for year over year, YTD stand for year to date, last year, year to date over last year. So these are ways we empower users in Power BI, and switch have been very, very useful. Though calculation group is performing better now, but before calculation groups arrived, we have been using switch to achieve something like this. So you can see where it's now applicable to business. So we have year, month. You can see the user currently selecting this highlighted one, period, which is period like a slicer, a slicer. The user is selecting current, last year, year to date, and year to date over year. So you can see that is what is actually appearing here. So if the user selects these other two, that will also appear. So you can see you actually empower the user. So this giving the user the flexibility. You're actually giving the user flexibility on what to do, how to do it. So let's go to Power BI. Sorry, let's go to Power BI and demonstrate that. Okay, so one of a quick one is we always build sorry. Hope my screen is still visible.
Yes, it is. You are still seeing the code.
Okay, nice. So we actually sometimes for this kind of scenario we create a temporary table that will, because you need a column to input in a slicer in Power BI. So we create a temporary table, and then this is the so we create a temporary table. Okay, this is for demo 1, demo 2. So we bring this temporary table, the column which we have created for each of the period, into a slicer. You can see this is a slicer. This is a slicer, and then we bring in, you can see just only one measures. So let's see what the measure is doing actually. So this is actually the code. Hope is large enough for everybody to see it.
Can you make it? What do you mean by sales versus fast?
What do I mean by
sales versus fast? I don't get it.
It's just a name. It's just a name. The syntax of that is you come with a name. You give this a descriptive name, this a measured name. So it can be any name. So depending on you. So what I'm trying to demonstrate is the use of switch, which have actually empowered the user. The use of switch here. Switch makes this dynamic. If I go here and I deselect last year, just keep note. I've selected 4 out of 6, and these are the 4 showing. So if I go back to the report and actually deselect last year from it, you actually see last year will disappear. Okay, I've actually let me select only current. You can see selecting current alone, it actually give me the value of the current year. If I move further and select year over year, it actually give me another column, which will give me the value of year over year. I can go further and select last year, which will actually give me the value of last year. So with this kind of scenario, you can see switch have been so powerful, and it actually empower the business. So these are one of the these are another application of using logical function. And in this particular scenario, we have a switch in play. Very useful in this particular scenario. Okay, so we move on. Any concern from anybody?
I have a concern. No. Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Kazeem.
Yes, continue, please.
So this period of a thing, this indices of you are using for measurement, it's invariably you have already created the DAX for all of them. If I want to be right.
Yes.
Does it mean you now put them together in a period folder or something? I don't get it, because I'm immediately you just slice it. You're just showing all those indices directly. How are you able to put them together in a place? Because the DAX I'm looking at, they are more than those 5 or 6 that you are showing us.
Okay. Let me come back here. So this is actually the place you said you have issues with. Am I right?
I'm not seeing your screen, sir. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So what we are doing here is this. You want to give your user power. In a normal scenario, you can only trend. Let me start from scratch here. So you see what I mean by giving your user power. And switch have been so important here. Now, let me duplicate this. Can you see my screen now? So we are
Yes,
trying to build a report. So we have the year and month. Am I right?
yes.
Okay. So if you are building a report in this scenario, you want to see the value of sales amount. You will need to bring the calculation of sales amount. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, you have done this report and your user comes tomorrow telling you that we want to see the last year beside it. What do you do? The value of sales or revenue last year. What will you do? So,
we bring in
hello?
We bring in major
You
calculation.
bring in measure. Exactly. So I will demonstrate that to you. I bring in another calculation beside it. Am I right? Can see you are a user now. Do you get this?
Okay.
So 3 months after, your user report, something I've learned about reporting is very dynamic. Your users are not always certified. It's always an issue sometimes when you start a project. Before you end the project, the requirement have changed because the user will tell you, we are no more using this kind of thing. And your user tells you again, okay, can we see the year over year beside it again? Or we are not interested in sales last year. You need to go back. Your user does not know anything about calculation, does not know how to bring up this thing. You need to bring up the development and bring year over year. Am I right? This is 3 months after.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So this is how you do reports in Power BI. But there's a very nice way which we call a user-friendly method that you can actually give your user the power. Give them almost everything, script all the calculation that can actually happen, and tell them if they are interested in using, if next month come and you're only interested in seeing current month, Mr. User, please just deselect order and choose current month, which I've actually demonstrated here. Do you not get what I'm trying to interpret and what I'm trying to pass across?
Yeah.
So if the user, this is the first month, let's start from the beginning. This is the first month. The user month 1 is only interested in seeing the current amount for the year. And then a new boss arrives and the boss tell the user that why are you only comparing, seeing the value of this year? I need the value of next year. The user will need to call you as a developer or the report author to come and script this again. But if you give the user the power, the user know that, it's here already. Let me just click this. So this is the second month. What the user need to do is just to click a button. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
So that is the demonstration. So it gives the user more flexibility. It gives the user more control. It is your own calling you back for support, calling you every time, come and do this, come and do that. So I hope I've demonstrated that for you. Franca, your hand is up, please.
Yes.
Rashid,
Hello.
I hope that is clear.
Yes.
Very clear, sir.
Hello. Okay.
Franca.
So does it mean yes? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So does it mean that in Switch you have the built-in functions? Then you build the function in there. So once you click on year, last year, it comes up. You can.
Yes.
So the functions are already built in. The measures are built in there, in the Switch.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
So
Okay.
that's one. As you can see, it's a very useful application. I've used it a lot to actually help a lot of clients because report is so dynamic. So you actually, with the use of calculation group, we can do more. I can do up to 20. And when the user is ready, just select the one you are interested in. If you like tomorrow, change it to another thing. You have the power. Because without this scenario, the user need to call you all the time, every time, next month, each month, the user need to call you and ask that, Mr. Developer, can you actually help me? Can you do this? Can you do that? So I hope everybody enjoy or can see the usefulness of logical functions. They are so small, but if you can apply them, we have a lot of scenarios. These are simple scenarios. These are quick wins that have actually gone a long way. Any other questions so far? Franca, your hand is still up.
Yes. Okay. So how do you bring the measures into switch then? Yeah, because you just showed us the slicer, but how did you bring in the measures into the function?
These are the measures. Can you see my screen now? These are the measures.
Okay.
So it's just for you to say, this is how switch work. If it is A, okay, now let's say, for example, if it is Lagos, it is fish. If it is Ogun, it is cassava. If it is Oyo, I like food a lot, so I like demonstrating or giving example with food. If it is Kano, it is sorghum. Do you understand? So instead of you using the if, you know, if as only from my slide, if as only one branch. Do you understand? So switch gives us that the slide. That's why the slide comes before the demonstration. Switch gives us these multiple branch, because if you are using the function if, then you can only say if it is Lagos, it is fish. Any other thing is any other thing. But you have a scenario that if it is Lagos, Lagos can produce a lot of fish. If it is Ogun, Ogun can produce a lot of cassava. If it is Oyo State, they can produce a lot of yam flour. If it is Kano, they can produce a lot of sorghum. If it is Kebbi, they can produce a lot of rice. How many if are you interested to write? You are writing about 6 if in that kind of scenario, which is not optimized. Hope that is clear. So that is one of the useful use case of switch. Frank, I hope that is clear. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Nice. I think Ochiko actually contribute nice one. I really appreciate their contribution, and I think everybody can go through the chat and can see one of us have actually made justice to that. The contribution saying basically, if you have a situation where you want to use a slicer to filter your chart or table, then you can use your switch functions. The switch functions give you the ability to group individual measures. Exactly, that's what we are actually doing here. We group them into an option column that can use as a slicer. This is, in one word, what I'm actually demonstrating. So I think a thumb up for Chikoye. It means that a lot of us are actually contributing and following. Okay, let me add my thumb up there. Can't I react? Wow, I wanted to react with what Ochiko have said. Okay. So we move on to the next one, and okay, hope my screen is still visible.
Yeah, it is, but we have not seen your slides.
Okay, so can you see my slide now?
No, we are only seeing the names. People that are logged in now. Your slide is showing now.
Okay. Let me try. Sorry. Coalesce. The next thing is coalesce, a readable if. It works like if. Coalesce work like if. Return the first argument that does not evaluate to a blank value. If all arguments evaluate to blank value, blank is returned. What are we saying? A scenario like this, coalesce. Coalesce was introduced March 2020. Power BI, it was introduced, generally available on March 2020 last year. I remember there was a lot of requests for coalesce because most of us, we use a lot of coalesce in SQL Server, in T-SQL, and we are expecting Microsoft to add that to DAX. And they actually did that March 2020. I know it was a lot of celebration from a lot of people because writing if sometimes is not readable. It's not readable, it's not so neat. Coalesce. So scenario, what's an application for this? we have stores, but at a time, maybe a particular store does not have a store manager at that particular time. So let's say if manager is not available, just put not assigned as manager name. So we have a store, let's say QSR, a quick service restaurant, a particular restaurant, maybe Banawa Kaduna, for a period of 3 months, their manager is not actually available. Maybe something happened and the business have not been able to replace the manager, or the manager left the company and they are yet to replace the manager, and the business just continue with the staff they have there. So if manager is not available, we are trying to do reporting and trying to give the name of manager, so region, how they are performing. And then it was time for Banawa branch, Kaduna State, and then no manager. So will you return blank? No. So we can actually write the code that if manager is not available, not assigned as manager name. So nevertheless, using coalesce improve readability, and this is already a great reason to start using it whenever needed. You might actually use if, but in some situation, coalesce is very, very useful and readable. So let's continue. So it return different results depending on the value of an expression. A typical example, a very typical example I've seen it on the feed is this: varying price of product. We have organizations selling products, and we all know that organization can actually, there's what Nigeria does not have a lot of price control, I'm sorry to say. So a lot of people can actually inflate the price. Last month, I'm interested to buy something and it was actually 95,000. All of a sudden, this month is now 105. What does it happen? Is it that the cost of goods or raw materials increased? No. Most of these business are just interested in bringing up the value depending on demand. Now, we are trying to do a report and saying, and sometimes also happen to services when they know that they are dealing with a big man or someone that a billionaire, they prefer to give a higher value than the same services that a business will render to a millionaire. So if they are actually requesting for 2 million from a millionaire, they might actually put it up because this person is a billionaire, you can actually pay 10 million. But actually, when doing reporting, the business is actually interested in giving you, telling them what's the price of this product. So and the insight is that a product must have a price. So we have seen a report like that because the price inflates up and down. This is the price for January, February has changed. Does not mean that when you are doing your report, you'll be doing showing all the price. So at least you need to give a price to each product. So this is a scenario. Now, what does the business do? What do we do in this kind of scenario? We say we can actually come to average of those changing price. The price of, let's say, a freezer in January, a thermocool freezer or whatever it is, in January was actually 95,000. A week after, it was actually 102. Another week after, it's come down. It's now 97. 95, 102, 97. So, and the analyst is trying to make a report, trying to develop a report. So the business is actually interested in not seeing the varying price, a particular price. So the business will agree that, okay, report if the price is changing all the time, report the average price. So give me the average of all these varying price and report it against that particular product. For products that their price is static, that is not changing, just give me the value. So we use coalesce in this kind of situation, saying, so this first highlighted one, give me the price of those that are changing. The second code here, give me the price of those that are static. And coalesce, give me in one place that if this particular product has varying price, coalesce, give me the average price. Else, give me unit price. You can see how readable it is instead of using if. So we do that. Let's go to Power BI and quickly demonstrate that, and I entertain questions. So, sorry, let me bring up the code. Okay. Okay. price. I think I have this written here. Sorry. Okay, price. So I have price written here. So this is what we are trying to say. There's some product that have varying price. This happens in business a lot. And they want to report, there's a report showing, give me my product and let's see their unit price. So Coalesce will actually give you those that has varying price, give me their varying price. If it does not have varying price, actually give me their unit price. So these are one of the useful cases. And let me show us in Power BI, the demo 3. You can see here. You can see here. So these are the price of each of these products. Some are coming from the average because they have varying price. Their price is changing. Some are coming from a static price. Their price is just static. The business are not interested in inflating or doing that. So at this point, I think we have actually treated about 2 or 3 DAX logical function, and we have seen the application in real life scenario. Our time is fast spent. I will draw down the curtain for question and answer. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Any question? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any question from the house?
I have a question now.
No problem.
So Mr. Kazeem, thank you so much for this class. It's very expository, and I'm following you strongly. But my question is this: you know, some of these codes you have already cooked them. Just like you just cook a soup.
I don't cook them.
Very
we
delicious.
can, for demonstration.
And wait, let me be done. You bring banga soup, you bring the jollof rice. You say this jollof rice, you know, very sweet. But again, we don't know how you get to the banga soup and the jollof rice. What make you so sweet? We are only seeing the. So for me, you know, we have different codes that you have cooked. It will have been better, even if it's just one. You just run us through. So at least we can build on that capacity, you know, to move on subsequent one. It's just a suggestion, really. Thank you.
Okay, nice one. Any other question? Any other concern? Another concern? Okay, so reaction to your concern. For us to okay, so writing a code from scratch is possible, but I believe for that is not for you to be able to understand that is I believe the audience here will have a little understanding of that, and that's why I use a lot of highlighting in the DAX. So what I can do for you is actually we can actually pick one of these scenarios and write it from scratch. So is that good? Hello, Brachid, is that good? That's what you are actually interested in?
No. It's something I will appreciate, really, if it's possible.
Okay, so because of our time, writing code for. Okay, I think Ochiko hand is on or is up, so you have the floor. Ochiko, you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know my mic was muted. Hi everyone. Toby, I think what I just want to contribute. I don't have any question. So what I think you should do is, you see one of those if functions or and or the chorus function that you just explained. Just write the code from scratch so they can see it. No, when you're writing it and you pick a particular function, DAX will tell you what the meaning of what the function is going to return, so they can have an idea of it. It doesn't feel like you're just copying and pasting. I don't know the levels of people that are connected, like viewing you. So just do one so they can see it. It takes less than a minute or two. Do you understand?
Nice one, thanks. Understand, yeah. Okay, so let's just pick the first one. So the first one is actually visible. The first scenario says we want to classify our days as, I'll delete this. We want to classify a particular day, transactional day, as weekend or weekdays. I hope that is well understood. And in this calendar table or the date calendar, 1 is for Sunday and 7 is for Saturday. So let's start. So we can actually add a new calculated column to give us the description of each day. So here I have a calendar. This transaction happens, this date calendar is, the first date is 7/1/2005. So I want to classify this date, is either weekend or weekdays. So calculated column, click on this table. This is my calculated column. So I can actually call this any name. What, Mr. Rashid, so you we continue. What is the name do you want us to give this? Hello?
Hello, I'm there.
So what's the name you want us to give this? You understand the business scenario now. What's the name?
Ending date, none.
Eh?
Ending.
I can't hear you.
You said ending date, right?
Ending date. Okay, you want us to call it ending date. Okay. So that's the name of the calculated column. So the scenario is if, so I like formatting, if, so if, check whether a condition is met and return 1 value if true and another. So we know it's either weekend when it's either Saturday or Sunday. Am I right?
All right.
So we have either, so which is an or statement. So we start with an or. So an or statement can actually help out. So you can see here on my screen, we have logical 1, logical 2. The first logic is saying...
Go on.
Okay. The first saying is saying or date, which is we are actually making use of the one that has retrieved the day of week. So the day of week column is giving us 1 if it is Sunday, 2 if it is Monday, it is 7 which is Saturday. So if day of week is actually 1 or so a comma, the second logic, like formatting. So the second logic now, day of week is equal to 7, which is representing for Saturday. So we can close that logic. So this is a logic here. Now, this is the first argument for if. If this condition is met, then return me, you can see return result if true. Is a pseudocode. Return weekend. Oh. But if this condition, these two conditions is not met, return weekdays. And then I can complete my if statement. So we have actually written the code, and that is all. So let's do that, and then we see how that plays into Power BI. So now, can you see that we actually have, let me bring up my magnifier. So can you see here, this is what we just script now, ending days. Am I right? Can everybody see that?
Yes, yes.
So you can see when it was 7, it is weekend. When it is 1, it is weekend. Else it is always weekdays. So this is one of the applications we're trying to say. So a particular in your report where your boss or the owner of the report, so we open a new page, bring up our sales amount, and then bring up the column which you actually add there, which is ending date as an as-is. So you can see at a glance, you can make a report saying this is what we actually paid in weekdays, and this is what we actually paid in weekend. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
So that is clear. So our time is fast spent. We are above time. Any other concern from any other person? So if we go through writing the code from scratch, we are here for a very long time, because writing the code from scratch, this is the easiest one out of it. It will take a lot of time. That's why we brought in those code written down, but they are just straightforward. So any other concern from any other person? Thank you, Rashid, for the contribution.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tobi Kazeem, for the wonderful section. We really, really appreciate you for giving us much insight on different functions that have been used today. Okay. The feedbacks are coming in from Mr. Rashid. He said, thank you so much, Tobi Kazeem. So we really, really appreciate you. Maybe some other time we'll be bringing you in for another exciting section like this. So we really appreciate you for your time. So our time is already fast spent. We will find a way. Next Saturday is another section. So let us get ourselves prepared. We will still continue with we are still on DAX, and Mr. Collins will be coming back for part 2 of time intelligence. So let us keep our fingers crossed till we meet. Okay, another feedback from Franca. Thanks, Toby, for very insightful. Okay, well done, Toby. I'm proud of you. So these are wonderful comments. So it means that the facilitator today is highly appreciated. Thank you very much. So this brings us to the end of today's meetup. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Before you go, hello.
Yeah, hello, yeah.
Please, sir. You help us remind Mr. Collins. You know, Mr. Ayodeji told him to give us the slide he used for us the other time because his system was misbehaving, so he was unable to give us, so that I can come along with it.
Okay. In response to that, he has actually sent it to me. So I will go back and check the email address of those that are on the platform on that meeting, so that I can send it to them. Or better still, I will drop it on the platform so that you pick it from there.
That's
so
fine.
All right. You're welcome. So any other thing, the class has come to an end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Chukutam. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.